It is my honor to welcome you to the Alpha Mu Gamma 56th Annual Induction Ceremony on this day, April 27th, 2021. I am now officially with the gavel calling to order the meeting of our Beta Psi chapter of the Honor Society. So I want to welcome all of you again, tell you a little bit about the history of the Honor Society that today many of you are being inducted into. The symbols, the colors, the story behind the society that you are now going to become a lifetime member of. And it really is a credit to all the hard work that you did in your language of study, and we're here to celebrate that achievement and to explain a little bit about our society, of which you are now going to be a new member. So the Beta Psi chapter of this society was founded back in 1965 by Sister Marie Patricia Cahill. She was a former chairperson of the French department here at the College of Mount St. Vincent. But the society itself, Alpha Mu Gamma, goes back even further. It was founded in 1931 in Los Angeles City College in Los Angeles, California. And we're very proud of the fact that we are the first truly inclusive modern language honor society in the United States. In other words, we're an honor society that recognizes all languages and literatures. There are other honor societies just for French, just for Spanish, just for Italian, or even just for the European languages, Romance languages. We are a national society celebrating the study of all modern languages. So, a little bit about what you see here, some of the symbolism. Our society is Alpha Mu Gamma. And Alpha Mu Gamma is composed of the initial Greek letters found in the phrase Amphi Mus Glossum, meaning for the muse of languages. The motto of the society is Search with Eyes Aloft, which is from the Latin poet Virgil's Aeneid in his 6th book. The society's emblem, which you see here, is the golden bough, that's the branch here, representing the golden olive branch of peace in ancient poetry and mentioned in the Aeneid. The key, which you see partially covered behind the scroll, bears the Greek letters for the society, signifies intellectual endeavor, and the scroll, achievement. And the golden bough, enlightenment, friendship, and the sympathetic understanding of all peoples. Perfect that we're here in Mount St. Vincent. The colors of the society are white and gold, which are also the colors of Mount St. Vincent. So we were meant to have a society chapter here, right? And the colors symbolize truth, light, and intelligence. Once you become inducted, you will be a member of a national organization with 400 chapters all around the country. And we hold annual meetings, a biannual conference that we're hoping to have next year. And many of you are not graduating this year, which is great. So we hope that you'll get involved and be an active Honor Society chapter, which we can, of course, talk more about in the coming years. Once you're inducted, you'll sign your name in our book. And just briefly, the book records all the names of inductees. This is the second book the Society has used. It was started in 1999. So you are going to be written into the history of the Society and Mount St. Vincent. Your name is also being recorded in the national office, currently located in Fairfield University in Connecticut. So you're there. You are now a part of the history of Mount St. Vincent and a history of the society. So once you're done, you'll sign your name in print, say what language you studied, and your class, the year that you're graduating. So assisting me in today's ceremony are two of my colleagues in the Department of Modern Languages and Literatures, Dr. Mariela Wong, Associate Professor of Spanish, and Dr. Cedric Ray-Bourset, Assistant Professor of French.
So the student candidate guided by Dr. Wong will now go outside of the room.
Filipino place. We're going by language, given the terrific number of inductees this year. So, Filipino. There'll soon be nothing to request admittance into the society. So we're waiting for them to come.
power vested in me by Alpha Gamma, I hereby receive you into the society in recognition of your work in the study of Filipino. May you be loyal to the ideals of enlightenment, friendship, and sympathetic understanding among all people. Please say your pledge now, first in English, and then in your language of study. So, in English. I accept the ideals represented in the open law,
enlightenment, friendship, and sympathetic understanding of other people, and promise to be loyal to these ideals of Alpha and Gamma.
And now in Filipino, I cannot say this.
Pinapatagap namin ang mga hihingin ng pinapakatawan na nahihintuan sa nga, pagkamulan at pagkakaibigan at pagkakawas sa kapwa-tao, at nangangako na magiging tapat sa mga hihingin ng Alpha and Gamma.
Who have attained distinction in the study of French, and whose scholastic records meet the requirements of admission to Alpha and Gamma. Emily Perez Garcia, Mariam Fidel, Kaylin Simon, Jennifer Velasco, Ana Isabella Sola.
So we welcome Emily Perez Garcia, Mariam Fidel, Kaylin Simon, Jennifer Velasco, and Ana Isabella. Welcome. Thank you. So through the power vested in me by Alpha Mugama, I hereby receive you into this society in recognition of your work in the study of French. May you be loyal to the ideals of enlightenment, friendship, and sympathetic understanding among all peoples. Please say your pledge now, first in English, then in your language of study.
Set the ideals represented by the golden bow, enlightenment, friendship, and sympathetic understanding of other peoples, and promise to be loyal to these ideals of Alpha Mugama. Nous acceptons les idéaux que représentent l'argent, lumière, amitié, sympathie, bienveillance parmi le peuple. Et nous promettons d'être fidèles à ces idéaux de l'Alpha Mugama.
And whose scholastic records meet the requirements of admission to Alpha Mugama, Gabriela Rose. Welcome, Gabriela.
The powers vested in me by Alpha Mugama, I hereby receive you into this society in recognition of your work in the study of Italian. May you be loyal to the ideals of enlightenment, friendship, and sympathetic understanding among all peoples. Please say your pledge now, first in English, and then in your language of study.
We accept the ideals represented by the golden path, enlightenment, friendship, and sympathetic understanding of other people, and promise to be loyal to these ideals of Alpha Mugama. Noi accettiamo gli ideali rappresentati dal ramo d'oro, illuminismo, amicizia, conoscenza profonda delle altre genti, e facciamo la promessa di essere leale
pleasure of presenting to you the following candidates who have attained distinction in the study of Spanish and whose scholastic records meet the requirements of admission to Alpha Mugam. Addre Cruz, Jeffrey Tuanasi, Maya Peters, Lisa Moreno Sosa, Caitlin May, Melanie Sanchez, Megan Newswinter, Raquel Pellero.
Welcome Addre Cruz, Jeffrey Tuanasi, Maya Peters, Lisa Sosa, Caitlin May, Melanie Sanchez, Megan Newswinter, and Rachel. Through the power vested in me by Alpha and Gamma, I hereby receive you into this society in recognition of your work in the study of Spanish. May you be loyal to the ideals of enlightenment, friendship, and sympathetic understanding among all people. Please say your pledge now, first in English and then in your language of study.
We accept the ideals represented by the Golden Dawn, enlightenment, friendship, and sympathetic understanding of other peoples, and promise to be loyal to these ideals of Alpha Mugam. Aceptamos los ideales representados por la rama dorada, ilustración, amistad y comprensión mutua entre los pueblos, y prometemos ser leales a estos ideales de Alpha Mugam.
poetry reading for our new member.
As it is customary, where our inductees will read a poem of their choice, I'm going to invite each group out as a group, so you can read your poems, starting with the inductees from Filipino.
Isang tao ay sunod katulad sa bagay ng ating manghikal sa ingkalayan. Ang sulit magmahal sa kayang salita, mahigit sa hayop at malusang isda, kaya't ang dapat ay yanang pusat na tulad ng tunay na napala.
Ang wikang Tagalog tulad din sa Latin, sa Ingles, Kastila at salitang Anghel. Sa kataang toong maalam, tumingking ang siyang nagawad, nagbigay sa atin. Ang salita natin, tuwa din sa iba, na may apod-adod at sariling letra, na kaya nawalay dinaknang ng siwa, ang munday sa lawa, noong takong una.
Ang posporo ng Diyos ay Jose Corazon de Jesus. Sa dilim ng gabi, may gintong na lagnat. May apoy, may ilaw, galing sa itaas. At dito sa lupa, noong pulapag, nahulog sa bibig ng isang lalaki. Ang sabi ng iba'y kaluluwa ng patay, luha ng bituin na ng ibang naman.
Lalo na't sa gabi ay iyong matanap, tila na bituin sa langit ng tanggal, bituin sa langit at rosa sa hardin, parang nakita na nakakalitan din. Nang di na mangyari sa umaga gabi, ginanap sa gabi at pagpapansin.
Patiting na ilaw ng lihim na liyan, sinuko sa lupa, taglaw ng magdama. Ito'y bulaklak ay dating pamagal, posporo ng Diyos na nalaklakad. Kung para sa akin tayo nagkaluhod at natiligaw na sa malawang ko, nung kausapin ang dakilang Diyos ay sa bagkulaw lamang nagkaluhod.
Sampalitong munti ng posporong mahal, kiniskis ng Diyos upang pinanglan. Nang ito'y mamulod sa gitna ng daan, nakita ang landas ng pusong naligaw. Ito'y bulalakaw, amotoy ng lugod, na nagkanilalaglag sa lupang malungkot. Manakikis hindi, naliligaw sa tuok, kapatid ng lawan ng posporo ng Diyos.
With the inductees for French literature.
Liberté par devoir et droit. Sous mes cahiers d'écolier, sous mon pupitre des arbres, sous le sac de neige, j'écris ton nom. Sur les pages lues, sur toutes les pages blanches, perçant, pierre ou sang, j'écris ton nom. Sous les images dorées, sous les armes des guerriers, sous la couronne des rois, j'écris ton nom. Sous la jungle et le désert, sous le nid et le génie, sous l'écho de mon enfance, j'écris ton nom.
Sur le merveille de nuit, sur le thème blanc du journée, sur les saisons fiancées, j'écris ton nom. Sur tous les chiffons d'azur, sur les temps soleil lancés, sur les lacs nuits vivantes, j'écris ton nom. Sur les champs, sur le front, sur les ailes des oiseaux, et sur le moulin des ondes, j'écris ton nom. Sur chaque bouffée d'amour, sur la mer, sur le bateau, sur la montagne de Mars, j'écris ton nom.
Sur la musique des nuages, sur le ciel des orages, sur la pluie qui passe et passe, j'écris ton nom. Sur les feux sous tes mains, sur la cloche de couleur, la réalité physique, j'écris ton nom. Sur la frontière éveillée, sur le route des feuilles, sur la glace qui se reprend, j'écris ton nom. Sur la lampe qui s'allume, sur la lampe qui s'éteint. Sur les maisons ruinées, j'écris ton nom. Sur le fruit en deux du miroir et de ma chambre, sur mon lit qui brille, j'écris ton nom. Sur mon chien devant les pentes, sur ses oreilles dressées, sur sa patte maladroite, j'écris ton nom. Sur le tourment de ma porte, sur les objets familiers, sur le froid de vous venir, j'écris ton nom. Sur toute chair accordée, sur le front de mes amis, sur chaque main qui se tend, j'écris ton nom. Sur la vitrine de ce Christ, sur les fleurs à Jésus, et en dessous du silence, j'écris ton nom. Sur la capuche de Christ, sur mes pas écoulés, sur le mur du nom de nous, j'écris ton nom. Sur la porte de Dieu, sur le solitude nue, sur les marches de la mort, j'écris ton nom. Sur la santé de nous, sur le risque disparu, sur le toit sensible, sur le lit, j'écris ton nom. Et par le pouvoir de mort, je recommence ma vie. Je suis déçue et regrettée pour ton nom.
And we end up being from Spanish.
mi nombre en llano de Uzaches. Mi nombre, gritado así a los cuatro vientos de noche en el llano de la muerte. Elena, es raro que descuartizados mis miembros avancen por el llano de Uzaches. El nombre ya no los une ni los nombra. Es raro que sigan avanzando y que en el centro esté la boca del vaso. Ahora los llama mi nombre. Ven aquí, nariz de Elena. Ven aquí, brazo de Elena. Solo la basinisa sigue firme cubriendo la cabeza que sonámbula rueda en el valle de Uzaches. Hay todavía un puntapié sobrante y nadie llega a jugar a la pelota. Nadie olvidó un buen escupitajo de comillo para la cabeza que rueda entre Uzaches.
Elena, los llama mi nombre. Vengan aquí, mano izquierda, pescuezo. Hace años que bailan cerrados en la tierra de los escupitajos. Hay alguien que guarda todavía en un gargajo para ese ojo cerrado a cargazos. Elena, la voz viene del centro profundo de mi ombligo. Hay quien vive dentro del ombligo de mi llama. La voz corre para atrapar los pies que corren entre mis haches y las manos que bailan en baile rojo de los dedos rojos. Sin pisar, sin lápiz, sin niño, sin amante, me busco, me encuentro. Colgados de una rama seca están uno de mis labios, y ahora por allí corre la lengua, que recitaba las lecciones del colegio. Rosa, Rosé, que hará allí tan lejos del pizarro, cerrada en el valle de Uzaches.
Elena, me buscó, me encontró. Nadie levanta la basílica que cubre paisajes. Pájaros vistos en deslumbrantes copas, el pico de la estrella de la cual colgaba yo, y las sílabas de un nombre meciéndome hacia un pasado y un futuro, los dos de oro, antes de estar aquí, gritándote a ti mismo en los Uzaches. Tampoco hay que mirar por el agujero de la horca. Señores, un mercado para ligarlo bien, para que nunca más se llegue al centro de ese corazón, que yace en una roja caída en el llano de Uzaches. Les gustará a las damas y a los caballeros, tumbando y iluminando el rojo de los Uzaches, en el valle en el que rueda mi ombligo, como antes rodaron las lincas de mano, clic, clic, clic.
Elena, mi espinazo blanco avanza como fibra, hacia el pozo negro del vacío. Algún tapón de rastro de esos piadosos tapones de raso que llevan las señoras para que aplaste su cabeza. Rosario y decencia en mano hubo damas, chequera y decencia en mano hubo caballeros. El llano, este llano, es para los pegados. Las damas y los caballeros viven en avenidas de cartón y beben sangre de indio.
Elena, me buscó. Hay tiempo, el pozo está lejos todavía. Los dientes separados en la encía avanzan a salpitos, hasta que caiga al último de ellos, hasta que caiga la solemne campanilla que presidió al paladar y la palabra. No podré responderte. Elena, te digo que me buscó, que me encuentró. Espera hasta que llegue al pozo negro la última de las uñas. Es largo el llano de Uzaches, es ancho el llano de Uzaches. Se tarda unos siglos en cruzarlo.
Sombras por Salomé Reina, alzad del polvo inerte, del polvo arrebatad el alma mía. Melancólicos genios de mi suerte, buscar una armonía triste como el afán que me tortura, que me cercan doquier sombras de muerte y de gozo en mi pecho amargura. Venid, que el alma siente morir la fe que al porvenir aguarda. Venid, que se acombata, fatigo el espíritu doliente, mirando al pesar y impetu sañudo, su torsa paz al desencanto rudo y al entusiasmo ardiente, plegar las alas y abatir la frente. ¿No veis allá a lo lejos nube de tempestad siniestra avanzada que oscurece a su paso los reflejos del espléndido sol de las esperanzas?
Mirar perspectivas, las ilusiones van del alma al orgullo, no como ayer activas, hasta meter al sur tienen de vuelo, y a recibirlas con miedoso alboroto. Sus pórticos de luz enviaba el cielo, ¿cuál será su destino? Rosquitas desoladas sin encanto, en el vertido val del torbellino, y al divisarlas con jabón de espanto, sobre mi pecho la cabeza inclina. Se estremece el alcanzar un puerto de bien, de gloria, de grandeza suma, que fabrica tener de pensamiento. Bajo el peso se rinde que le abruma.
Conmuévese entre asombros de la suerte a los ímpetus terribles y se apresta a llorar en sus escombros el ángel de los sueños imposibles. Venid, genios, venid, y adorando al agua de vuestros himnos de inmortal tristeza, para olvidar el porvenir hacia algo, se aduerma, fatiga mi cabeza. Del arca abandonada, al viento dar la gemegunda nota, mientras que ruge la tormenta helada, y el infortunio azota, la ilusión por el bien acariciada, y huye la luz de inspiración nocturna, y la noche del alma persigue.
The final act of our honors induction is to recognize and celebrate those members who are graduating this year in just a couple of weeks. So I will call the names of all of those Alpha Mu Gamma members who are graduating. When your name is called, please come up and receive your honors cords, which you can wear during your graduation ceremony. Maritza Felipe, Isabel Macantai, Jennifer Kwak, Lily Garcia, Mia Peters, and Jeffrey Kumasi. So before I gavel to an end the Alpha Mu Gamma portion of our event this evening, I just want to again congratulate all of you who have just been inducted and encourage you to stay involved, those of you who are not graduating, and be an active chapter, and we can work together next year to organize activities and events. Congratulations once again, and with this gavel, I hereby close our Alpha Mu Gamma portion of this evening's event. I'd now like to introduce the chairperson of the Department of Modern Languages and Literatures, Dr. Rosita Villagomez. And she will be conducting the rest of today's ceremony, honoring all of our graduating majors and minors in the department.
No gavel in this portion, just my little white voice, which some of you are used to. This portion of the celebration is for our seniors. We, the Faculty of Modern Languages, have enjoyed working with you. It's been a pleasure seeing your dedication to the complex and rich discipline that you have devoted several years. Fills our heart because we know that you're going to share this with others wherever you go after this phase here at the Mount. And as soon-to-be alums, right? Soon-to-be alums, we hope to hear from you and that you stay in touch with us, right? That's it. That's my talk for today. And from here, we move on to recognize some of that we have is the Solange Brunion Mali Award for Academic Excellence and Service to the Department of Modern Languages and Literatures, La Señorita Jennifer Poit from Spanish, please stand. You'll get your medal at graduation. That's May 22nd at 1 o'clock. Right, I have it memorized. There's hope for me. And now, for this portion, we start presenting the certificates of achievement to graduating students from modern languages and literatures. These are our majors and minors. Clarissa Felipe, French. Elizabeth De Leon. Jennifer Barton, now you can come down. For Spanish. Gabriela Marie Aparicio, Spanish. Senor Jeffrey Tuamasi, for Spanish. Isabela Manpantay, for Philippine Studies. Jose Estrella IV, for Philippine Studies. Lily Garcia, for Spanish. And Mia Peters, ready? For Spanish as well. Congratulations, congratulations. And now we move on to the portion where we have our keynote speaker. Today we have the pleasure and delight of having Dr. Peter Luthi from the Mathematics Department, Associate Professor and Chair of Mathematics, and he'll talk with us for a bit.
So I'm very humbled to be here to celebrate all of you great students. I recognize quite a few of you from honors, from calculus, from my coding classes. So you might kind of wonder, what is this big nerd, what is he doing here talking about language? Turns out I'm also a nerd about languages. So I want to talk just a little bit about some of the ways that languages have enriched my life and my career as well. So when I was in college, I lived in Knowlton, so I went to Connecticut College in New London, Connecticut. I lived in Knowlton, which was the multi-language dorm, for all 4 years that I was there. So every day for 4 years, I spoke Spanish for an hour at lunch. So at the end of that 4 years, my Spanish was pretty good. It's not quite so good now, because I haven't used it very much. But it did enable me to travel quite a bit. In 2007, I did the Camino de Santiago, which is a hike across sort of the northern coast of Spain. So I walked a little over 500 miles in 30 days. It remains sort of one of the best things that I've ever done in my life. I highly recommend it if you ever have 30 days to do this hike. But yeah, sort of being able to speak the language sort of makes that kind of experience fundamentally different. You're still a tourist, or you're still visiting places, but the experiences that you will have while you travel, if you speak the language of the country that you're in, is very different. So just as an example, so after this sort of hike in 2007, I also I had studied Spanish for so many years, but I'd never traveled to Spanish-speaking countries. This was my first time there, so I also traveled all through the south of Spain, into Madrid, Granada, Seville, and sort of one of the experiences that I remember the most was sort of walking through Toledo. So there's material called Damascena, Damascene, I think is the English word for it. So it's this iron, sort of black metal with gold sort of embossed on top of it. So I wanted to find one of these, a bracelet or a necklace or something to bring back to my sister when I came back. But sort of if you go to these places, the sort of tourist traps, it's easy to get something that's not actually made in Spain, it's imported from somewhere else. And so I was just sort of meandering, and there was some craftsman out on the street, and so I just went and asked him, where can I get something actually made here? So Toledo is sort of famous for its Damascene artwork and jewelry. And I just, had a conversation with him. He was repairing the wooden line for like an old keg system in some bar somewhere in Madrid probably. It was still using sort of wood to transport the beer or wine through. And it's just, this is not the kind of experience that you will have if you don't speak the language. You're going to get something that's very, marketed towards probably towards English speakers. And it's going to be a very different experience. For example, when I was in Seville, sort of getting ready to travel to Granada, there was an older couple, I think from Tennessee, and they were trying to get a train ticket. I don't know if the salesman was just being a jerk to them, or if they genuinely couldn't figure out what he was trying to say. But I had to translate. They were trying to buy a train ticket. They couldn't figure it out. So it's just a fundamentally different experience when you're genuinely depending. You have no idea, no sort of concept of the language, how to get around. It's just a fundamentally different situation. So I've actually also developed some collaborations with some professors at the Autonomous University of Madrid. And so I was able to go to seminars there. I was supposed to go there this past summer. Obviously that didn't happen, but 4 years ago I was there working with some researchers, and so almost all the people that were there spoke Spanish. I was the only not native Spanish speaker, but some of them spoke, their English was fantastic, but many of them it's just not something that they communicate in every day in seminars. And so originally they were talking about sort of having all the seminars that we were going to engage in English. And I was like, no, I can't speak Spanish so well in 2016. I couldn't speak Spanish so well, but I can still understand it pretty well, right? Especially with mathematics, where a lot of the words they're Latin-based anyway, so it's relatively easy to translate. With Piccolado, Delias, and different things like that. And so I did the same thing two summers ago, except I went to Nantes in the west of France. So I don't speak any French. I had a great trip, but I don't speak any French. It's just a very different experience. Traveling to a place where you don't speak the language. I learned a lot. It was sort of interesting seeing, just like when I was in Galicia, sort of seeing, pre-Roman names for cities in these places that still exist in these places. That was very enriching, but just a fundamentally different experience. Another sort of, it was almost a Spanish minor in college. I ended up not being able to complete the minor because I was taking so many math and physics credits, but sort of a lot of the history class that I took in Spanish, I sort of learned a lot about how mathematics sort of came in from the Arabic world into Europe, both through like Cyprus and Italy, and then in through Spain, like the Caliphate of Cordoba, the Caliphate of Baghdad sort of stretched from Baghdad to Cordoba in Spain, and a lot of sort of mathematical concepts that had been developed in the Middle East were transported into Europe through translators in southern Spain especially. And so even if you were in Spain around the year 1100, 1200, 1300, you might see a sign that says, Addre sangrador. So sangrador is a blood letter. This is like an old-fashioned term for, somebody puts a leech on your arm and they actually pull blood out of you. At the time they believed that would fix your four humors. But algebrista means algebraics, so algebra, polynomials and things like that. And that's because it actually comes from an Arabic word that I'll probably mispronounce, but it's al-jabr, which is a phrase for the reunion of broken parts. It also means bone setting. So sort of repairing some broken bones, sort of putting somebody's bone back together. That's where algebra comes from. You've all experienced that sensation when you factor a polynomial, for sure. But so in that context, it sort of I gained a better appreciation for the history of my own subject, and that sort of continued in graduate school. Getting a PhD in math, you're required to take a language exam. Usually, it's either in French, German, or Russian. I chose German because my father's ancestors came from Switzerland. they had not taught him German. He was born in 1939, so that's right at the beginning of World War II. They did not teach him, fell out of fashion to speak German, so they did not teach him that. But I'm sort of interested in that. There's a lot of great German mathematicians. I also, the truth really is that I really studied German because, I met a girl, there's no better motivator than the heart in learning language. It was, but relationship didn't work out. I still learned German out of it, so there's something positive about that. But sort of as my language exam, I translated a paper, information theory. Somehow I managed to get paid to do that also as for a professor in the engineering department. I was able to travel to Germany, I visited Humboldt University there. Sort of right across from Humboldt University is where there's this sort of empty courtyard. Have you ever seen the videos of the Nazis like burning books? That's where that took place. Sort of, there's on this courtyard, there's a glass window that sort of looks down into the monument, the Bücherverbrennung monument. So, not celebrating book burning, but sort of acknowledging this horrible mistake that the Germans have made. Also visiting the Holocaust Memorial in Berlin. Sort of seeing, learning something about that it is possible for people to both love their country and acknowledge terrible mistakes that they've made in the past. Which, at least here in the United States, we don't do. We just don't do it. Also seeing in the courtyard at Humboldt University, seeing the statue of Helmholtz, this great physicist. There's a plaque to Max Planck, who sort of invented quantum mechanics. It's again sort of something that in the U.S. we sort of could do more to celebrate that aspect rather than just having monuments to soldiers and things like that. Courage is an important thing to celebrate, but there are other things that are also great about culture. And so learning another language where you learn about other cultures, but you also learn a lot about your own, right? Especially traveling, it's every presidential candidate repeats, America is the greatest country in the world. And that may be true, but there's a lot of other good places out there too. You sort of go you visit Spain or France or Germany or Philippines, any sort of other country out there. There's a lot of great things happening in a lot of other places too, and we can learn a lot from those sorts of things. So I just wanted to sort of close by just saying that learning language is a humbling experience, but also a very humanizing experience to sort of meet somebody, communicate with somebody in a language that they understand. I know many of you are interested in nursing, going into medical fields. There's really, when somebody's in a horrible situation, being able to put them at ease, at least that they know that you understand what they're saying. That's a tremendous gift to give to somebody. So just to close, I hope you're all very proud of the work you've put into studying modern languages. I hope you'll continue doing it after college. Continue on for the rest of your life. Pick up another one. It really will sort of open doors for you in ways you can't really appreciate now. But thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Muthi, for that, giving us that motivation to continue studying. It's not a process that ends here when you finish, whether you're in your 15th credit and you're waiting for senior year, or those of you that are graduating. This is a lifelong commitment, right? It's a lifelong experience learning a language. There's so much more to it than just what we do in the classroom. Conjugations, which I know my students have enjoyed very much. There's a lot more to language. It's something you live. And so hopefully you took away that information and are ready to pack your suitcases whenever we're ready to travel and enjoy the world. But there's more to that as well. There's like Dr. Muthi said, the human side, what you take to your career by learning a language, right? The service that you can provide. And being there at the Mount, what it means to help others. And this language thing that you did for the last 3 or 4 years is much more than just speaking the language. It's a service that you can provide. So I thank you for encouraging our students. Congratulations to all our new inductees. Another round of applause. For our seniors, and the rest of you who were just inducted, we'll see you at future graduation. And with that, I close today's ceremony. Dr. Aliana, you have any closing words?
Just once again to congratulate everyone and thank you all for coming. I know this is a very hectic time of the year, but I think it's a very important ceremony, and I was so glad to see all of you, and I'm so glad we could do this today in person, and I hope your friends and family were able to watch on the live stream as well. Congratulations on your accomplishment one more time.
Very proud of you guys.